the test. Okay. I think what I'm going to do for the review for the test is to have you do the actual mid-module test from EngageNY. And then I have my own test that I will give you for this one. And it should be easier than normal. Okay, so it says the surface area of Jupiter is 6.14 times 10 to the 10th kilometers squared. And the surface area of Earth is 5.10 times 10 to the 8th kilometers squared. Without using a calculator, but using the table of logarithms, find how many times greater the surface area of Jupiter is than the surface area of Earth. So, if we do that, how would we figure these? Anybody want to give me a starting point here? Okay. What do we have here? What would we call this measurement to this measurement? We can call it a ratio, right? We can call it a ratio. How do we write ratios? How can we write ratios? What? As a fraction? So can we write this as 6.14 times 10 to the 10th over 5.10 times 10 to the 8th? Could we do that? Okay. Now, if we did that, we could get, remember, when the exponent is in the denominator, it's a negative, right? So we could leave this as 6.14 over 5.10 times 10 squared. 10 minus 8 is 2, right? Now, from there, how are we going to come up with using the logs, not using a calculator though, how we're going to find out how many times greater the surface area is? What would we do? You got to be deciding right now, are we going to natural log this or regular log this? What would we do and why? Regular log it. Why? Because it's a base 10, right? We love base 10s because we can regular log them. So let's do that. Let's say log of, let's call it C, is equal to, now if we log this, what do we get? How can we write that? What happens with our 10 squared? What do we do with that? We'll move 2 to the front, right? So we would have 2 log 6.14 over 5.10, right? Is everybody good so far? Maybe. Everybody good? Now, how can we rewrite this? How can we rewrite it? Two log what? Actually, 2 plus log what? Minus log of 5.10. Correct. Now at this point, you need to know 6.14 and log 5.10. And we don't, do we? Yeah, you need to use the log table. So that's the reason why it says don't use your calculators, because you would have to have a log table that's got all the logs listed. And we don't have that. So I'm just going to tell you what that is. That would be 2 plus 0.7882 minus 0.7076. If it says use the table, it'll give you like the 3 or 4 different ones, like we've been doing, where it gives you some of the tables. We'll just do that. It'll give it to you. And so when you add all of that up, you get log C equals 2.0806. So now that technically is the answer, but what does 2.0806 equal as a log? How would we figure that out? 2 is going to represent what? We know what the 2 is. What is the 2? What's log 2? 100. Right. So the log 2, so this would be log 2 plus log, I think I can move over a little bit. Yeah. Log 0.0806. Log this would be 100 plus, and we would go to the table again to find what is 0.0806, and that is 20. So we would have log 120. Okay. You don't need to necessarily know what is the tables. Okay. You just need to know how to get here. Okay. So what would we say as the answer to the question? How many times greater is it? Well, it's approximately 120 times greater than Earth. So think about the surface area that we have here on Earth, and then think about the Jupiter is 120 times that of Earth. It's a big old ball. Okay?